Yeah, your audio sounds fine, but your video does and then go for like a split second.
Yeah, that's what yours is doing
Like
right
you're
now.
doing the robot, but not a very good job at doing the robot. It's like really shitty job at doing the robot,
Hey, man, don't make me making fun of my dancing skills or something.
or something is right.
Whatever, man. I try.
As
I don't
long
know.
as you try.
It was fairly shitty earlier.
Oh, really?
It was working fine, and then all of a sudden, like, all the devices had like asked to reconnect.
That's probably because there's too many people. Just go door to door and start telling people to get off your Wi-Fi.
Get off my internet, you sons of
My
bitches.
internet. Record a podcast in a few minutes here. Get off.
Yeah, you sons of bitches. What you drinking there, buddy?
This is Mandarin Orange seltzer water from Kroger. It tastes like seltzer water.
But does it taste like mandarin orange?
Not really.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
It's not even really a hint of flavor. It's just no real flavor, but whatever. Seltzer water is just seltzer water.
That's true.
Bum, bum, bum. I was going to ask you something, and now I don't remember what it was.
Okay. Well, if you think of what it is, I will give you an answer.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So how's work been?
Good.
I see you got to use the scissor lift today.
Yeah, I've been on it the last couple of days. That was weird.
What was weird?
Your video went like you turn, when if you're on your phone or your iPad and you turn it like the other way, like my video is wide versus tall. You went from tall to wide and then back.
Yours did that initially when you first called and it connected. You were up and then it went boop, and then expanded out.
Weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, no. We've been trying to get things fixed at the store, but everything's running behind.
Yeah, sounds like you're not having fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of waiting to do something and then can't be doing something.
So hurry up and wait.
Yeah, and then like we tried like this morning we wanted to we need to run some lines for these electronic door locks they're putting in, which are like badge access doors, what they're called, managed access doorways.
Fancy.
Yeah, all on Microsoft actually, and so Nate was looking at it because the guy was supposed to be here today for it, which he did show up. But then he noticed that they added something else to it, and they updated the actual amount of wires needed to run, and it changed drastically. So it went from having what they said was only 2 wires, a 22 gauge wire and an 18 gauge wire, to being needing 4 of the 22s and 2 of the 18s run to each of the door, like basically 2 sets to each door.
Jesus.
And we had to do
That's
that.
a lot of wire.
Yeah, and we had to do that, and we went to use the scissor lifts, and both of them were dead because nobody plugged them in right the night before.
Usually how it happens.
So we had to plug them in and wait, which means we didn't get to it until the store was open. So we had to do it all while customers are walking around.
Fun times.
Yeah, that's not exactly what I would say, but... And it's just trying to, like, do things with, like, a little bit of time when we need to be up, like, on scissor lifts running around, and we can't because the store's open and customers are, well, not very smart. But, whatever.
Fair enough. Sounds like it sucks. But there's something else that didn't seem like it sucked. Where were you this weekend?
Oh, I went to Carowinds.
What is Carowinds? I'm not sure what a Carowin is.
I don't know what it is either, other than the fact that it's sounds like the winds in Carolinas. So So it's interesting. So it is a theme park owned by the same people who own, a shit ton of them, really. It's like Knott's Berry Farms, owned by the same people. Hold on, let me pull up the old list here because we found it the other day when we were talking about it. I can't type, apparently. An amusement park owned by somebody whose name I can't find on this list. Cedar Fair, that's it. Cedar Fair.
Oh, don't they own like Cedar Rapids or Cedar Point or whatever it is? There's a bunch of amusement parks called Cedar something or other.
So amusement parks they own: California's Great America in Santa Clara, California. They have Canada's Wonderland in Vaughan, Ontario, Canada, which I didn't know was a thing, but apparently it is. Carowinds, Cedar Point, Dorney Park in Wildwater Kingdom in Pennsylvania, Gilroy Gardens in Gilroy, California, King's Dominion in Virginia, Kings Island in Ohio, Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California. Let's see, what else is there? Michigan's Adventure. Can you guess where that one's at?
Adventureland?
It's in Michigan.
Ah, damn it. I had 50-50 shot.
Valley Fair, which is in Shakopee, Minnesota, I think is how you say that. And then Worlds of Fun in Kansas City. But yeah, so that's that's what it was. And they were doing they are still doing their Halloween stuff. So like the Halloween decorations were still set up around the park. We didn't stay for that because it was another ticket admission price, like most of them are. But they look to be pretty up on it. They have like a lot of like actually I'll show you. Everyone else is gonna not see these. I'm gonna send them directly to you because I don't want people questioning what's happening. Hey, you did it again.
Let them question. Let them wonder what the enjoyment they're missing out on while one person finally gets around to buying an Xbox and the other one is, I don't know what he's doing actually this week.
Moving his ship.
Paige is probably at work. Paige always works. Nah, she's at work. She's always working.
Fair enough. So these are some of them that I'm texting you at. I wonder if is it trying to like share my screen or something? What is happening with this video? It keeps rotating.
I don't see it.
So strange. I can't widen. Like, why? You're on your computer, so why aren't you sideways?
I don't know. I'm on my computer, yeah.
It's so weird. Whatever. Those are the pictures I just sent you. I haven't done this whole slideshow thing. Oh, that's so cool. iOS 15's weird slideshow thing.
So the first picture I got here is the skeleton that's holding his head in his arms, pointing towards the skull, which is kind of weird, but really cool. Design there. I apparently can't swipe. Okay, well, we'll do just this. Another skeleton, the next one down, he's just like, I don't know, really happily waving.
Yeah. I accidentally sent you Squishmallows. That was an accident one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the next one is the Squishmallows, which you spent how long did you stand in front of that stand looking at Squishmallows for Paige? Because it felt like 2 hours of going back and forth of should I get this one? Is this the one that you want? In all these pictures, like you must have looked like a lunatic. Going through all those Squish.
Earlier in the day was when I sent her the original one. I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. She was just commenting back and forth. I just knew what she was looking for. Later in the day, though, I think I was directly talking to her via the text messages.
Yeah, you were directly texting her. You took it out of the chat.
Yeah. And
you were direct texting her. But I was sitting right there when she was going through all of it. She was freaking out.
Yeah, she was in heaven. They have a lot, as you can see from that stand. A
lot.
And then if you look at the picture again, not that this is great for
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
You zoom in. The middle one is a stand out front of the actual little booth, and in the booth they actually have more, including one specifically made for a ride at the actual
Oh.
park.
Oh.
Which is what they do a lot of theme parks, and I think a lot of them are actually owned by Cedar, whatever I said their name was. Cedar
Point?
Fair.
Or Cedar Fair, yeah.
Yeah, because they have like Kings Island and Cedar Point, I believe, both have exclusive Squishmallows with that are themed after rides at their park.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty neat.
Did you get any of those or
no? The
not?
only one they had there that was named after Fury 325, which is their big new ride there, and I'll get to that in a minute. But it's like a lime green, like it looks like almost like a mix. I think it's a bee or something like that, or a hornet. I'm not too sure what it actually is. And then it says the name of the ride on its belly. It was nothing crazy.
Okay.
But apparently she didn't want that one, so I didn't get that for her.
Fair enough. Last two pictures here, pretty cool. Just like pumpkins.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff.
Not real pumpkins, but carved pumpkins, and what looks like a weird pumpkin, not scarecrow thing, but sitting on top of like a column of corn.
Yeah,
stalks?
it's a corn thing. Yeah. Yeah, and those were all over, and then they had like little like trick or treating booths that you can go through. So they give you a little bag to go through and trick or treat around this one area of the park, and then they have stuff throughout. I didn't take pictures of all of it just because during the day it didn't look spectacular, but you can see it was pretty cool looking. And it looks like they move them out from where they were to like more exposed into the park, so it doesn't take up room. It's a really interesting park layout. It's very big. If you look up the map of it, you'll see. But the other picture I was going to show you that I didn't send on that one was the entrance to the park. This is this is walking up to the park itself. The end. Just one picture. Because it's pretty cool.
Almost got it. Come
on. So yeah, you'll see in a second here, and I'll tell you what you're looking at.
There we go.
So this is part
That's the entrance to the park.
Yeah. So the park enters. So when you walk up to this, just to the right of this line of cars here is the entrance bridge it goes over, and that ride actually goes above and below the entrance to the park.
Damn.
So when it's running, like we were there right as it opened, so we were actually one of the first people on the ride that day. The ride is 3 minutes and 25 seconds long.
I'm sorry, 3 minutes
and 25
seconds?
Yeah.
That's a fucking long ride.
Yeah, so that's the reason it's called Fury 325, and the reason why is because it's 3 minutes and 25 seconds long to ride it. And it literally goes from the back of the park all the way to the front of the park and back. So
is it just ups and downs? Does it do? It looks like it might twist a little bit.
Yeah.
Here.
So if you zoom in on the picture, to the right, there's a tall bush.
Yes.
And then right next to the left of that is an arch. It looks like it's like right there. It's actually way far back, and it's the highest point in the park.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the beginning of it. So
I was going to say, it looks like that little catwalk area that they usually have at the beginning of these types of rides.
Yep. And what's crazy about it is, like, most of the times when you get on these rides that bring you up really high, you go out and you hit the chain or whatever, and it goes tick, 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 and slowly brings you up. No, this thing pushes you out, and then you hit the chain, and you actually zoom up the hill.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's not a slow ride up.
No. And there's a couple rides here, and I'll list you my 3 favorite ones that I wrote on, that are deceivingly, and they're deceiving in a way that they're not the normal setup of a ride, and they kind of like fool you into like thinking the ride is one thing versus another. So, your question about is it just like ups and downs? So there's a lot of ups and downs. There's twists. There's turns. You do get flipped upside down. There's 1 or 2 loops in it, and a lot of like dips and like sudden rushes. It's pretty gnarly. It's a real fun ride. It's my favorite. I think it's my favorite one in the park.
Yeah.
We rode it 3 or 4 times because like it was a Sunday when we went, and it was actually pretty slow. We walked. I mean, the longest line we waited in was for the Nighthawk, which we rode twice. That one's nuts because you lay down.
Yeah, you were saying that in the text. Like, it literally, like, what? You get in there, you sit down, and then when they start it, they just tilt you straight back and level?
Yeah, so when you first get in the ride, so when you get in any roller coaster, right, you get in and you're facing, or you're sitting
You're
in a
facing
chair.
where you're going, yes.
Yeah.
Usually.
So I've been on rides where you lay down in it, right? Like you get in and you get in a harness or whatever. I think it's the Batman ride. Is that the one? There's one of the ones that I think it's at Magic Mountain where you lay down in a cart, right?
Yeah.
And you're not really like your limbs aren't dangling. Your arms, you can dangle your arms down, but you're not like suspended like fully. And you fly, or whatever, right? So this one, you lay down. So Nighthawk, you lay down, like you get in a chair, and it's like, hey, we're getting ready for launch, and all of a sudden your chair literally mechanically moves and tilts back, and so you're laying down. And then you go through the ride, and you literally go upside down. Like a majority of it, you're facing the ground.
Wow.
And so when you lay down, the car doesn't go the direction you were facing; it goes the other way.
Right.
So your head,
so your feet are going.
Yeah, your head is going towards everything like you normally do in a ride, right? But because you're on your back, they instantly like flip you over, and then you're facing the ground, flying, and it's pretty fucking nuts. It rides pretty nuts. But Fury 325 and one they call the Intimidator, which is actually a Dale Earnhardt Senior ride, the NASCAR guy. Yeah, no, I made the joke, and it wasn't the.
You didn't land well at betting?
Yeah, no. What I didn't know is North Carolina has the NASCAR Hall of Fame or museum or something in it. It's downtown Charlotte.
Okay.
So, pretty big NASCAR fans here. So, I did take a picture in front of Dale Earnhardt's car. I'll show you that in a second here. It's this one right there. So Fury 325 and Intimidator are very new rides apparently, and they're very much modeled after each other, and they're just as long of a ride. I think Intimidator's almost not as long as Fury, but a pretty long ride, and it's pretty nuts. It's a pretty gnarly ride. It's not just left turns, so it's not like straight NASCAR, but it's pretty nuts in the way the carts are set up. The seats are the same, like the physical seat you're sitting in is very similar to each other's, but the Fury is a very traditional styled car. It's is it two? It's 2 rows. Yeah, it's 2 rows, like two rows in the first part of the car, 2 rows in this, or 2 seats in the second row, and that's 1 cart, and then a second cart, third cart, fourth cart, then fifth cart, I think. And so it's like 4 people per one, and like you're each like 2 per row or whatever. Pretty standard ride. The Intimidator is actually set up different. The car's very wide, and there's 6 carts, I think, in one group, and each one has 4 seats in it. But the first 2 are close to each other, like this, and then the row behind them is actually separated. So no matter what seat you're in, you're facing in the first car, at least, you're facing outwards. You're not really sitting directly behind somebody. And then the ride's just bonkers long too, and it's got a pretty high drop, and it goes forever. Like it like literally like those 2 rides border the whole front of the park.
Wow.
Because they like the Intimidator is like right when you walk into the park, there's like shops, and that's where the Squishmallow thing was at. There's a Starbucks and a, what the hell's on the other side, candy place or whatever, and then you walk in, and it separates. It goes two ways, and you have some rides in the middle and stuff like too. You go off to the far right, you go to Fury, but almost immediately to the left is the Intimidator. And like I said, the most we waited. Actually, I think the longest we waited was actually the Flying Cobras, which is like themed after like these old like fighter planes. And that's pretty nuts because you get in it. Actually, I'll talk about it in a minute. But so you go to Fury, way back. It's the beginning of the ride is so far back in the park. It takes about 5 minutes to actually walk to it from the front. And then within minutes, you're actually riding the ride all the way back to the front, and then right back to where you were. It was pretty dope. It's fast as shit. Tell you don't wear hats, don't wear glasses. One of the cool things they do actually on some of these rides is they have a little box just to the side of the car of the ride. So when you get on, you can actually put loose articles in them, and they have 3 different boxes set up, so you can basically Paige's message. I'll explain that in a minute. I know what she's talking about. There's like a section for 1, 2, and 3, and each car is like 1, 2, or 3. And when you get on, you can put your stuff in there. Then they close it, and the next one opens, and so forth. So like you can put your loose articles in there, and it's locked for your car as it goes through, and then you get off and get your shit, right? And they monitor, they make sure people aren't just fucking diving into it or whatever. So you can do that, and because some of those rides they're pretty fucking gnarly, especially the Intimidator and Fury. Like Fury didn't have the little things to put your stuff in, so like I had to like put my glasses in my hat and then shove it down the front of my shirt and button my shirt up because there's like no room really to like put it in your shorts, like in your pockets, because the ride is so like compact. And I'm a bigger gentleman, so like I need all the room that they're gonna give me. And the ride is just fast as balls. I mean, it's called Fury 325, and it's just you take off, and it's there's parts where you're literally weightless on the ride because you're going so quickly and you dive so fast, you come out of your seat and you're weightless.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, dude. Like it's one of the most like intense roller coasters I've ever been on. And I haven't been on all these ones all over the world or whatever, but
right.
It was pretty nuts. Like it was pretty crazy. And the Dale Earnhardt one too was pretty gnarly too because it's pretty fast. I mean, it's called the Intimidator, and it's based on a NASCAR driver, so it needs to be. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So those two, we actually rode those multiple times each. And actually, funny story about Intimidator. So, like I said, there was there was like no line, and so we ride the Intimidator once. We're like, this is amazing, and we left. We went to ride some other stuff, and we came back to ride it again. And this time, when we got back after that trip, went through the whole thing, came back, and he's like, "Hey, there's like no line right now. If there's no one in your row, you can go ahead and stay on for the next, and you ride it again." And Scott with a C and I were already up and getting our stuff, and we're like, "Shit, there's no one in our row." So we jump back on, right? Well, I left my stuff in the thing. He had his shit back in his pocket, his sunglasses and his phone or whatever. We go, and it's just, yeah, we're having a good time. We're getting up, and he's like, "Oh, shit, my phone's gone."
Uh-oh.
Yeah, dude, his phone fell off on the ride.
Huh.
So we're like, shit, that's fucking sucks. Like, so we went over, and he's like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. His fucking phone is like gone as shit, right? It's like who knows where it's at because this fucking ride is 9 miles long. So he's like, well, fuck it, whatever. It sucks, but life goes on and whatever. So we walk back across the park. We ride Fury again, and he's like, hey, you know what? Let's go ride Intimidator again, just to see if we can figure out where it might have fallen out.
Uh-huh.
So we jump back on the ride. We're like, we kind of positioned ourselves in the same seats. So we intentionally asked for like the second row of a cart, and then he's on the left and I'm on the right, like we were. And then we're riding it just so he can think he can feel something like where it might fall out. Because that ride's pretty fucking, it's like some weird dips and shit like that. Mm-hmm. So we're going, and we get to a part where it's like there's no real slow moment on the ride, right? It's like the climb up is a little bit slower than the Fury, but like faster than most. Because it's a newer ride. It's only been out for only been a couple years, I guess, since they put it out or whatever. And so I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be useless. I don't have my glasses on. I can't see shit really because I'm fucking nearsighted, right? So like, if his phone is for some reason 6 to 8 inches from my face, I might be able to see it. So he's like, yeah, whatever. He's like, at this point, he's like, I'm not gonna find my phone. So we go through this dip, and I just happen to look down, and the grass area is a little black square.
Okay.
And I was like, bro, I think I just saw your phone. I'm yelling this on the ride. And he's like, what? I was like, and we come around because it's where the section was. You come down out of a dip and you turn into it's like a loop, but on its side, right? So it's like a spiral like thing, and you come back up. And so we dipped down towards the ground. That's when I saw it, and we came back around. I was like, look on the ground, because we're like the cars are sideways. And he's like, holy shit! I was like, I think that's your phone. And we had told this guy before that he lost his phone. He says after the park closes at 5, they usually send people out to try to find shit that people might have dropped, right?
Makes
and
sense.
he's like, yeah, you can, if you want, we can try to contact you if you find it. So after we rode that second time, at that point it was like the 4th or 5th time, we're like, hey, bro, I think we saw his phone, and I pointed out to where it was at, and the guy's like, well, it's not a cordoned off area, so we'll send one of our maintenance dudes over there. Sure enough, they found his phone.
Nice.
And it was completely undamaged.
Nice.
So whatever, it has no cracked screen, no nothing. It must have just fallen off that one point and just landed right in the grass. Didn't hit the car, I was like, dang, dude, you got so lucky. And he's like, dude,
so lucky.
He's like, that's amazing. I was like, I just happened the fact that your phone, an all black square, happens to be right on bright green grass, so I could spot it. If it was in gravel, I wouldn't be able to fucking see it. You know what I mean?
That thing would have been toast too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, because we were like, man, you got ejected off one of the fucking high points when you went up or whatever, and it's just like yeeted off into the parking lot, and someone's gonna find it and plant it in their windshield of their car or whatever.
Right.
So yeah. So that was that. It was just the fun time, and like we just waited for the security to come over and so we could prove the fact that it's his phone. So yeah, the Intimidator is a dope ass ride. Fury 325 is a really dope ride. But one of my favorites, close to being top, is one called Rattlesnake Bites. Right, Rattlesnake Bite. No, Rattlesnake Strikes. So it's a very unique ride. It's very fast. They dump you upside down 5 times. They even tell you that right. It drove the ride. There's the guy lets you go. But what they do is they fuck with you right away. So you normally any ride you go out, and if it's like an elevated ride, which most roller coasters nowadays are like elevated off the ground, and you're in a regular cart, right? It just looks like an old timey truck because it's like the only ride in the entire park that has like a backstory and a theme.
Okay.
And it's like this old grandma who's like family's a bunch of bootleggers and they make moonshine and all sorts of shit, right? And you are trespassing on their land when you see them making moonshine and they chase you. That's the whole theme of the ride, right? Okay. So the cart, 6 or fucking things, the cars long, the front and back of it look like an old-timey car truck thing, right? With the old, like, big old bulbous headlights and stuff like that. So when you go out of the platform where you load up on the ride, instead of like climbing a thing or doing a little dip down and things that you slowly go and they just roll you over. And then you do a complete corkscrew, but at like 2 miles an hour.
Okay.
And you go and it dumps you over and you corkscrew and into a turn and come back up. When you come back up, you go inside what looks like to be the barn, and there's old timey fucking cars everywhere and like what looks to be like a still, and it's smoking and burbling and whatever, and there's these video screens that come to life with like actors and stuff on them, and they play out this whole thing of like the old lady yelling at her kinfolk to go get the people like they're in there trespassing, right? And then the fucking ride just starts and it shoots you off at like 1,200 miles an hour. And you ride through this fucking nightmare of turns and they literally dump you over 5 times. Like you go upside down 5 times on this ride. And you do it very fast the next 4 times.
Wow.
Like they're just, and you're turning in and out and just doing these hard dips. Like and basically you're just trying to outrun these fucking rednecks trying to kill you for seeing them make shine and stuff. It's gnarly. It was one of my favorite rides because it was just so, the whole just fucking with you thing is crawling out of the thing is like dumping upside down and like coming back up and then just boom, gone. You're just like, oh, it's ridiculous. So much fun. And it's like, you just like, it literally is just, it's real quick and it's super hard turns and dips and rotate, like flipping over and just like, it was gnarly. I was like, this is nuts how crazy this ride is. And like I said, those 3 rides, all of them do different things. Fury and Intimidator are very similar, but they're very different in their own rights. But they're all just, they somehow fuck with you the entire time because you're either just like, hey, like, you know, when you go up and you like, you know, you want to turn back, a ride turns back like Intimidator, right? You go up and you think, oh, it's gonna, you know, that's the slow part of the ride. You're gonna, no, do they bank you into a turn? And then they slam you around the other way.
Yeesh.
And it's not a rough ride.
Okay.
But it's smooth, but you are moving when they put you in these turns. I'm like Days of Thunder. Like I'm on the outside, my wheels are starting to fucking burn. You know what I mean? I was like, God damn, they are just throwing you around on these rides. We did ride the only one we saw, functional wooden roller coaster there. They had another one that was like a kiddie ride or whatever. Yeah, don't recommend that one. Fuck that thing. That thing is old and busted.
Well, wooden roller coasters are just awful to ride in general. Just how shaky they are.
Yeah, this one was rough. We got off, we're like, yeah, that one we're not going to revisit. Now I know why there was no line.
You're like, I didn't have back problems before this. Now I do.
Yeah, I didn't have fucking bad knees, but guess what? I got 3 of them now. Yeah, there's a Afterburner ride, which is themed after a fighter jet, which is pretty cool. It's pretty fast. And you hang in it. It's like your feet are dangling and they around and stuff like that. And there's one in that one you actually dip down into crevasses and it's like into the ground or whatever. And one of them you dive into it and then you instantly pull up and you do a loop out of it. Mm-hmm. So it's a big old loop and you're going so quick that like all of a sudden you literally come out of a dive or come into the dive right underground and then you pop back up and you do a loop. So your momentum is literally just gravity and then flipping up and gravity taking you again, just going around, and then you come out into a twist. I was like, Jesus, what is wrong with you people?
Wow.
Yeah. That one is pretty nuts. We did a really shitty 4D Plants vs. Zombie thing they have there. We're supposed to be shooting with a gun, but it's not a ride. It's like this little, like you're sitting on like, you know, those old like mechanical horses and shit at the grocery store used to ride in, or the cars.
Yes.
You're literally on one of those and it's just moving you. And then you're trying to shoot while wearing 3D glasses at this screen, and it's just the guns are completely off. They're not fucking shooting right, is my excuse. And like you have to wear your mask inside, so like the glasses are fogging up as I'm breathing because I'm, I'm breathing, and it's like you're just shaking around, and I'm like, this is terrible. I was hoping for like a Buzz Lightyear type thing, where you're on or like not the Buzz Lightyear.
That's what I thought you were describing to begin with.
What's the other one? I was expecting like that one, and then like a mix between that and like the Monsters Inc. one, where you're like on a ride.
Or like a mix between that and Transformers or Universal, where it is that type of 4D experience type thing, but you're shooting things.
Nah. It's just rows, very much like the Minions thing, where you're sitting in a seat, right? But like the Minions thing is like cool. This one's not.
Yeah.
This one's hot trash, real bad. And the lady was like super, like just not enthusiastic about it too. I was like, well, this is a waste of fucking time. The AC was nice because it was very warm. Well, humid, I should say. It wasn't very hot. It was very humid. The sun was beating down on you, right? It was like 80. I think the hottest it got when we were there was like 84.
Which isn't too bad, but it's
with
still hot.
96% humidity or 98% humidity that day, and it made it like feel like it was 96 degrees. And I was like, yeah, it does. It feels like it's 96 degrees, and it feels like someone just fucking hit me with a wet towel. Yeah, that was the worst part, and I got a wee bit sunburned on my nose, but not like real bad, because I sweated off my sunscreen.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was when the sun, so it happens. Yeah, it was just because like the sunscreen I did put on, like I sweated part of it off, or probably wiped my nose because I was trying to get the sweat out of my eyes. But for the most part, it wasn't that bad, and it started to like at one point it started to sprinkle, and I was like, are they gonna close rides? Because like I don't know how this works. And we're like, oh wait, and then it just like stopped, and never started raining again. So I was like, well, I guess it doesn't matter now.
Fair enough.
What else did we do there?
Was that all the rides that you went on? All the ones that you really enjoyed. Beyond that, my question would be, any interesting food items there?
So, not really. They have a Chick-fil-A, but it was Sunday, so it was closed.
Oh my god, it's closed?
Yeah. So you know, that happens. We ate at the the only air conditioned building that was open, Harmony Hall. This is big, like it's like a big hall, it has a stage and everything, and they do live music there, but we didn't have any going at the time. It was they just had like a video screen going on playing different things about the different theme parks, and like restoration of or converting a wooden roller coaster into a hybrid. You know, they're keeping the body of the wooden, but like getting a modern track on it, things like that, and like the design of roller coasters and blah 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 whatever, right? And they have like different food stalls you can go to. It's like Italian, and there's a barbecue one, and like a poke one or whatever. Overly expensive food, obviously. And I got a brisket sandwich. It's actually pretty good, but you have to put barbecue sauce on it because they don't give it with barbecue sauce on it. If you don't, like, it's just gonna be real dry. I had a good flavor, but like it wasn't anything to fucking write home about. We just wanted to throw food in our faces to help with that.
Protein. You need that energy, yeah.
Yeah, and they get some liquids in us.
You need something to vomit up if that happens.
Yeah. Here's a pro tip, though. If you're at a theme park, apparently Starbucks gives you free water.
I think they give you free water anywhere.
Yeah, but this is like Starbucks water in like a Starbucks cup with ice and everything.
Okay, fancy stuff.
Yeah, I was like, because you don't have to go buy a bottle of water. You can just go to Starbucks and get a thing of water. Because I'm pretty sure a bottle of water is probably like $7.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Overall, it's fun. Another pro tip if you're going to go to Carowinds, or I'm probably guessing this probably happens at most of the theme parks, but Carowinds for sure. Normal price is like $70-something. But if you buy your ticket online, it's $40.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference.
Right? I was like, dang, we got our money's worth, because we rode Fury 3 or 4 times. We rode Intimidator probably 5 or 6, because we were able to ride it real quick and it was like right there. And we had to look for Scott with a C's phone. We rode the what is it called? Rattlesnake Strikes? I think it's called Rattlesnake Strikes. We rode that one twice. That was really fun. Rode the Nighthawk twice. Oh, I was going to tell you. So the biplane one, the fighter plane one, another one of those rides where it's like very different. Like they do something. And what this is, it's a very short ride, but you get in a car, and every little car looks like a fighter plane, like a fucking old propeller-driven fighter plane, right? And it's got it's something like the I don't know, Flying Foxes or some nonsense name, whatever. It's supposed to be like 2 fighter pilots or whatever, and they're brothers or something like that. Anyways, Again, one of those rides that sort of has a backstory but doesn't really have a story. And you get in it, and they bring you backwards up an incline.
Okay.
And then they drop you, and you shoot down through the platform, up, and then you do like this like hard bank loop. Go back, and then you do a loop on the other side, and you come back up on another incline. And then you do it all backwards.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, dude. Gnarly. The ride's maybe 24 feet long. Like, it's just, you go so, like, they bring you up, and then you shoot down, and you go through the platform, you come up, you do this, like, hard bank, like, this big, like, looping thing, go to the other side, come into a normal standard loop, and then go back up the other side, and then they grab you, and there's, like, the ride's not over, and then he just drops you. And you go do the whole thing backwards. And I was like, Jesus, what is wrong with you people?
That sounds like an insane, because I've been in, the only ride that I can think of that I've been on like that is Superman the Escape. And that just shoots it straight up and then shoots it straight back down. So that's a more intense version of that, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was pretty, it was pretty nuts. And it's just super fast. Like I said, it's very short ride, but you're just like, ah! But it was fun. But I was like, it's not worth the wait because there's one car on the whole ride. Because literally, there's only one track, so you can't like have. It's not a loop, right? The other tracks are loops, and you just put multiple cars and let them go at a different time. This is like, so the wait is like, that's the one we waited on the longest, which is only like 10, 15 minutes or some nonsense.
Not bad.
Yeah. The worst waiting actually is the Nighthawk one, because at the end of it, you're like, when you enter, and they always have that spot where you stop, wait for the other car to get filled up and emptied and whatever and go. You're still laying down, and the seats aren't super cushioned, so you're not like sitting on this cushiony seat. You're sitting on like the hard like foam rubber. It's kind of uncomfortable. But then the thing is, the whole point of the ride is you're strapped in, obviously, but you're not like held into the seat. So like there's room to kind of like move around. So when you're on the ride, you're like, you go through loops and you're facing down, and you're suspended into your harness like you're flying, right? So your ass isn't in a seat. So when you're laying there, you're just kind of sitting in this like ass-shaped seat, but you're not really sitting in the seat. You're just kind of laying there, and it's very uncomfortable. Luckily, they did put some like sunscreen over the top of the ride, because otherwise you'd be sitting in the sun the entire time.
That'd be pretty awful.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I was like, well, it's a good thing they put that up, and I'm guessing that was a later ad, because I guarantee you they sat these people in the sun for waiting for this other car to get filled up, whatever. But you know, it was a fun time.
The line experiences for everything, because this sounds a lot like, I mean, obviously they're owned by Knott's Berry Farm, or not, they're owned by the same company that owns Knott's Berry Farm. One thing I remember about Knott's is that a lot of the waiting areas were outside and didn't have like any type of spray coolers or anything like that. So I remember going through Knott's, awful fucking experience, just baking in the sun, awful experience. Comparatively, you have something like Disney, where a lot of their rides are built into have the story sections of them that they've built out that are air conditioned and whatnot, or the ones that they do have outside. Radiator Springs comes to mind, and a little bit of the new Guardians of the Galaxy ride. At least have misters and stuff on the outside, try and keep you cool. How are those experiences there?
So luckily we didn't have to wait in too many lines, because we pretty much walked right to the platform on most rides. The only one, Fury goes underneath. I think the only one that's really exposed for the most part to the sun, and I don't think there's any misters, is actually an Intimidator, because the line is outside. There's some covered areas, but for the most part you're outside. Very much like Radiator Springs, actually, which is weird because they're both car-themed rides. But nothing wasn't too bad. Like there was one, well, actually, I think it was the Nighthawk. you actually walk underneath the ride or whatever, and it's like this big thick area just covered in tall bushes, and there's like little like they're probably man-made lakes or like little bodies of water. Not like these. It's rained and the water stays there. These you can tell these are like, actually dip down like little lakes or whatever in the ride, and it's themed for the ride because the ride's very like foresty because of the way that all the tall bushes are set up, and the ride actually goes over the water. So that's why I know it's a man-made thing or whatever, because it's definitely not. You go over it intentionally because the ride, you can see the ride's built that way.
Right.
And that one had misters in the line, but the line's essentially covered by trees. So like you're not really exposed to the sun as much. And I'm thinking this park is either very new or they redid a lot of it, because like Afterburner, the one that's the fighter jet one, that one was, I want to say, was built in 2019.
Oh, wow.
Because there's a sign out front that says that they buried a time capsule to be open in 20 years to celebrate I think it said the opening in 2019 of the park. And in 20 years, they're going to dig it up and see what was in there, right? The time capsule. It's like what do you do with the time capsule? So I think that one's fairly new. Fury seems very new. Intimidator seems very new. All of them seemed very, very new. There's a few that are older, and you can tell because they're in the middle of the park, and they feel a little older. But like the Fury and Intimidator, and even the Rattlesnake Strikes, they're outwards of the park. They're on the borders of the park, and they're very new and polished, and they seem very more technologically advanced than a lot of the other ones are. Especially Fury has got to be real fucking new, because it just seems like super. I'm pretty sure magnet driven and stuff. Like, it's pretty nuts. And they fool you with that chain thing because they're like, oh, here comes a chain, click, click, and you zoom up this fucking hill, and I was like, god damn! And there's no pause at the top either. You get to the top, and it just dumps you over the side, and you're falling hundreds of feet. Like, it's just a straight plummet, and then all of a sudden you're on the other side of the park, and you're fucking making your way back, and you just like oh, it's pretty nuts. But that ride would be that one Intimidator would be super dope at night, like after the sun goes down. Which we didn't experience because the park closed at 5 because of the Carowinds, Carowinds as they call it. It's cool because when you first roll up to the park and you go with the Carowinds sign, they put up almost like a scary looking S on top of it, so it's Carowinds. It's pretty funny. Because the theme is, or the name of it is Carowinds. Pretty cool. Yeah, we rode everything except for one ride that was closed, and it looked like they were doing maintenance because they kept running a car, but no one was in line. It was called the Carolina Twister or something like that, a Hurricane. I can't remember what it was called, but it looked pretty cool, and we're like, oh, let's go over and see it. Like, we didn't see anybody there, but it's kind of like the whole thing's kind of hidden, so we had to walk around this thing, and then it was like not there, like it was chained off, and I was like, oh man. The worst one was one you had to stand up on, and it wrecked my balls. Called the Vortex. Terrible ride. Never ride that one. The worst part about it, besides the fact that like you have to stand up on this thing that like goes down, so like it puts all your weight on your jungle region, right? And then you put this harness down, but unless you're like 9 feet tall, the harness sits up here, and so your head is in between the harness, no matter what you do. And so as you go, your head has like half an inch of space between it and hard rubber. And so your head's fucking bouncing back and forth as you fucking jerk on this, and your balls are getting smashed because they tell you to slightly bend your knees, and then it locks in place. Except for gravity's a fucking thing, and I have to stand. And you 2 dives, and all of a sudden gravity goes, hey, remember you had balls located right there? They are squished. And I was like, you dicks. Both Scott and I got off. We're like, can we not ever do that one? Like, I'd rather ride the fucking wooden coaster again than this thing, dude. I was like, my balls are somewhere in my throat. My fucking head hurts. I feel like I've been boxing for like 20 years. Yeah, it was rough. I was like, this is not a good ride. No wonder there's no fucking line. I think that's everything. After we were leaving, we found out there's like a thing where you can ride in monster trucks.
Like actual monster trucks?
Yeah, like full size. Like they seem like full size monster trucks, and they're set up where you can have multiple rows of people, so they're obviously modified, but they're like lifted fucking like 12-foot tall monster trucks, and they drive over like a course that looks like you drive over like a school bus and all these mounds. But they have like Gravedigger there. There's one that was like shaped like a shark, and I was like, what? Because I saw a thing saying monster truck jam, but it was just like people taking pictures in front of a monster truck. I was like, I don't fucking care about that. Then we're leaving, and sure enough, there they are, just driving over this obstacle course in a monster truck. And I was like,
you could have done that.
I could have ridden in Gravedigger. This is some horse shit.
Somebody didn't do their due diligence and research the rides before they went.
That's true. Well, we looked at the ones, we skipped over anything that didn't have like, it was like a kiddie ride, whatever, because they on the app and the website, they give you like a listing of like, this is intense or whatever. And so we were just like kind of hitting all the ones that are like
supposed to do the intense stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and so I saw the Monster Jam thing on there, and it was just a picture of people standing in front of a monster truck, and I was like, yeah, whatever, it's like a kid thing, whatever, because they show kids, and it's in the kiddie area. But I was like, I want to ride in a monster truck.
Who wouldn't want to ride a monster truck?
I've been inside the cab of Bigfoot. Nice. Back in the day, but it was never running. It was just like, it was just, they lift it up and you get up the fucking 9-foot ladder or whatever to get in it. But I was there driving over shit. I was like, I'm not going fast or whatever, but I was like, that's fucking dope. I wanted to ride in that. I did not, though. We were leaving.
So sad.
Yeah. But so this is funny. So I wasn't paying attention because we had the music going. We were driving there because it was just Scott and I. Apparently, the address for Carowinds is in North Carolina. The park is in South Carolina.
What?
Yes. So when apparently we were driving out, he had his GPS on his phone, and it said, "Welcome to South Carolina." I didn't hear that part because the music was on. We were talking or whatever, right? We're leaving, and it says, "Welcome to North Carolina." I was like, "Your phone is so delayed. We've been here for a week. I know we're in North Carolina." He's like, "No, we were in South Carolina." I was like, "Bro." I was like, "No, we're not. You're stupid. We were in North Carolina. We've been in North Carolina for a week." And he's like, "No, like literally we were going, it said like welcome to South Carolina, but you couldn't hear it." And I was like, so I pulled up my map on my phone and I was like, sure as shit. Apparently Charlotte literally runs to the border of North Carolina and South Carolina. And the office for like the park office is literally in Charlotte, North Carolina. The park is in South Carolina.
Wow, that's so weird.
Yeah, so if you look at it, there's like this point, like where on the map when you go through, like the border comes up and it does like this little spike thing, like this, and that's where the park's at, is in that spike. Like they rewrote the fucking state lines to build this park in that little arrow, but yet somehow the office and the address are just north of the border, so it's in North Carolina.
I wonder how taxes and stuff work for that.
I don't know, but the park is like, if you look at it, majority of the park is in South Carolina. A little bit of it is in North Carolina. So at one point you're on a ride and you're technically in North Carolina, then you enter South Carolina and then you ride the ride back into North Carolina.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, this is fucking weird. Yeah, so I was like, that's super strange. I was like, oh, well, on my trip I have been in North Carolina and South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Boom.
Oh, look at you.
Traveling the world.
Fancy traveler here.
Another pro tip for everybody when visiting the South, if you ask for iced tea, you need to specify unsweet.
Unsweet. Yeah.
This one may lose some people's interest in this here podcast. Sweet tea is disgusting.
Well, actual sweet tea, the way they make sweet tea is like with like almost gallons, I would say, of fucking sugar.
It is disgusting. I forgot.
You're just not used to it.
It's just you don't taste anything but sugar. It's like terrible Kool-Aid.
That's literally the point of like Southern style sweet tea.
Well,
it is fucking sugar tea.
It's
That's all it is.
disgusting. And I will.
I'm pretty sure that they put the sugar in when the drink is hot, so you can add more sugar to it.
It's
That way,
so
when it
bad.
cools down, it stays in suspension, and it's just fucking sweetest sweet tea ever.
It's so bad. Like I literally, we're sitting down at a restaurant. I'm like, oh, I'll have iced tea, and I'm like, oh, unsweet tea, and she's like, oh, okay, no problem. I'm like, oh Lord. Yeah. So I mean, just if you're not a fan of sweet tea or you don't want to try sweet tea, just specify unsweet tea. They will look at you like, all right, you're not from here, clearly, because I don't have an accent. But also they're like, he doesn't want sweet tea, so this guy's not our favorite. What was I say? Oh, food wise, I know we always talk about this. You like our friend group, not the podcast. We've been trying to go to places that are only available here, or we don't have back home in Arizona. We failed a few times because we were like, during lunch, we just want to go get something we know is going to be good and we can eat it, whatever. So we've had like Jersey Mike's and Chipotle or whatever. We were going to have Chick-fil-A, but that fucking drive-thru was not fucking going to happen on a fucking
Chick-fil-A
work lunch.
Here, though.
Yeah, it was like, and their walk-in was shut off because North Carolina, you have to wear a mask indoors everywhere, restaurants and everything, unless you're sitting down to eat and drink, and then you don't have to wear a mask. But like a lot of fast food places and some even not fast food places, their dining rooms are not open at all. Like we went to go to IHOP last Saturday morning when we all finally got up out of bed because we're just all fucking ruined from this whole 3-hour time difference nonsense. And we're like, well, we're gonna go to where are we gonna go? Oh, we were gonna go to IHOP first, and so we roll up. Turns out dining room is closed. It's only pickup and things like that. We're like, well, that's not gonna go. We're gonna order IHOP, wait for it to get made, then drive back to the hotel and eat it. Like that shit's gonna be terrible.
Right.
Just in general, IHOP's usually not very very good and like not the best, and it probably doesn't travel so well. So we're like, all right, well, let's go to Cracker Barrel because it's like right across the expressway. It's not a highway. It's not an interstate. It's an expressway, apparently. We go over there, and it's mind you, it's Saturday morning, right? It's like local time here. It was a little after 10 o'clock, I think is what it was.
Okay.
So we've all been up for a few hours because our body clocks are all fucked up from being here for a week, and we're not exactly like the most cheery group. We're like, oh god, why are we up at 7 o'clock our time? And so we're like, whatever. We pull in and it's just jammed. Cracker Barrel's just there's like literally 100 people waiting outside. We're like, nope. So we pop up the old Google machines and we're like, breakfast, like just what is around here? And we found this place that had really good reviews. It was like, I think is listed as being like more of a cheaper option. It's called Metro Diner. So we're like, all right, we'll go there. We pull up and it seems pretty busy. There's people out like outside waiting, but not like no fucking lines like Cracker Barrel was, right? So we go in and she's like, yeah, it's about a 10-15 minute wait. We're like, she's like, but it could be up to 30 minutes. We're like, whatever, we're here. Just put our name down. We get it, right? Bomb ass food. First off, right? So they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day long.
Nice.
It's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can even call ahead and make reservation for people. It's pretty cool. And they have an app not an app, but a website. They track your place in line, and they text you when your table's ready. It's fucking cool, right? So you can watch it and you can look at the menu and stuff like that. They use Louisiana hot sauce on the tables, so I'm already a fan of that place. But yeah, I got chicken waffles because fucking why not, right? Half a fried chicken, like a legit half a fried chicken, wing, drumstick, breast, and thigh, all right on your plate with a big ass Belgian waffle with strawberry butter on top. And then they make their spicy syrup to go with it right at the table side. And it's literally a bunch of dashes of Louisiana hot sauce with maple syrup poured into it. They can either put on or like whatever. I was like dipping my chicken in. I was like, yeah, gimme. And then I was like spooning it onto the waffle. So good. It was so good. We've eaten there 3 times now. Like
Damn.
We ate there Saturday, like I said. Then Scott and I went there before we went to ride because we wanted to eat something but not like super heavy. So we went there to have breakfast at fucking 8 o'clock in the morning. And then we went to the theme park, and then just not last night before, we ate there again. And I've gotten the fried chicken twice, and it's fucking delicious both times. So highly recommended if you're on this side of the country. There are a bunch of them, and they are amazing. Well, at least the one here. The one in Matthews, I believe technically is the one in Matthews, North Carolina. Fantastic. Highly recommend. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Very nice.
But otherwise, that's really it that's happened over the last week or so. I think.
You guys got anything planned coming up?
We're gonna take a. I think we're gonna. Oh, Foundation's on Apple TV now. That's cool. Probably launched at 9 my time. Midnight for or 9 o'clock. Well, actually, if it's available, shouldn't it be available all the time? Is it only available for me? Did you get a notification saying that Foundation's available on Apple TV?
No, I haven't.
Holy
yet.
shit! Does that go by time zone?
It'd be weird
Because it's not. I got the notification about 30 minutes ago.
I have not received any notification.
Oh my god, it's available. Why is that out now? Ooh, do not play audio. Oh, would I not want to pay for that? Yeah,
It starts playing.
first episode is 1 hour 9 minutes. It's available right now to watch and download.
No, it says wait's over.
Oh, first 2 episodes are up.
Yep, they are.
Oh, nifty. I'll watch that this weekend probably. Nothing crazy planned. We're gonna go to Raleigh, North Carolina, I think either Saturday or Sunday. Might do it Saturday and just chill on Sunday before our last week here. Maybe not. It depends what we're doing. Depends on how we feel after tomorrow, I guess. And then have a 5-day work week, and then fly back to Grand Ole Arizona on Saturday. It's the longest goddamn freaking work trip. It feels like I've been here for like a month.
It really does feel like you've been gone for a lot longer than you've actually been gone.
It's weird, right? Like, it's just like so strange.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't even been 2 weeks yet, and I'm like, how long have I been here? Like, I've gone grocery shopping. Mm-hmm. I have to do laundry tomorrow because I own no clothes apparently.
Even here, I remember talking to Paige and thinking for some reason that you have already been gone for like a week and a half, and it's like, no, you've only been gone for a week.
Like, literally, you and I saw each other the Wednesday before.
Yeah,
we did the movies. We did the normal stuff, and I'm like, how long have I been gone? Why does it feel like I've been gone
You've been
forever?
gone a little over a week and a half. That's what it's been. It's like it would have been a week and a half yesterday.
Yeah, I was like, this is so strange.
Yeah, you still have a week, and you still have a little less than a week and a half.
Yeah,
left.
So weird. I'm like, oh, why? Why is this taking so long? Why does 3 weeks take so long? What is that about?
It's almost a month.
Yeah, dude, so bad. And it's interesting. The worst part of the whole thing, it's the 3-hour time difference. Like, waking up at 5 o'clock here is 2 a.m. back home.
Right.
Like, I'm just like, and it's gonna be fucked up because I'm gonna finally I'm kind of getting used to it. Like, my body's naturally waking up at 5 o'clock North Carolina time, and like getting tired like right about now, and like I will go to sleep here in about 20 minutes or so, and by the time I leave, I'm gonna be fine. And then when I get home, I'm like, it's gonna be fucking 2 a.m. and be up. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. Fucking time difference bullshit.
Yeah, how dare the world like have different time zones because it's spherical and turns and stuff.
Yeah, stupid fucking. Why couldn't the flat earthers be correct? I mean,
Right.
Anyhow, that's it. That's all I had to talk about.
That's cool.
Next week we'll talk about something else, I think. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, that's it. I guess we should probably do the intro outro thing here. Comes Naturally. We are
Joe.
I am Cody, and that's it for this week's episode of Comes Naturally. As usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.